figurines. The words remain quotes from books that were written 300 years ago, 500 years ago, commentaries on original works from 2,500 years ago. So you're getting a download of authentic Buddhist teaching that the Dalai Lama himself would have gotten. He understands these things. He's saying things. He's saying things. He's saying. Except for a lifetime. And we're getting to touch him in a 5-year program, not 20. So, I've started teaching this 5-year program 4 years ago. We have a year left. Before I continue on to a really special part of the course, which is the 13th course in a 5-year program, that talks about logic and perception, I wanted to catch up everybody on all the work we've studied before. And these are called Asian Classics Institute courses, ACI courses. And they really condense those 20 years. What you're getting is a condensation. Is that a word? Condensation? Yes. Not, that's not what I mean. Reduction, like a, Angela, give me
consolidation.
Consolidate. It's like an alchemist philosopher's stone. It's a boiled down essence of the essence of these 5-year course, the 5-year program, which was in itself a condensation and whatever. Reduction. A balsamic reduction. 20-year program. And just reading these things and just studying these things isn't enough. You have to drink the balsamic vinegar reduction and taste it for you before you can identify what it does to you. Yeah? There ain't no thing out there that's going to come to save you. Yeah? It is your internalizing of what you experience as things out there that will save you. Save you. Anyway, do we get what we're doing here? So I'm just catching up those people that have done those courses, just reminding them of the core content before we get heavy. And for those of us who are fairly new or came in halfway through the 4 years or the last year of the 4 years, it's a good reminder of what we did before, so it's a really nice catch-up. And those who are brand new, it's a beautiful way to get a really big picture overview of all these weird Buddhist terms. And hopefully we can talk here about how to apply them to a meaningful experience before your David Bowie or your Alan, what's his name? Rickman. Yeah, before it comes to you, you figure out what you want to do with this precious human life. Yeah, and that's only up to you. You can get lost in the hypnosis of New York City living or the idea of yourself in this life that you've developed over time. Or you can get a wake-up call from your own echo, from yourself, and see if any of these practices, ideas first, that turn into trying them out, that turn into serious practices and in-depth transformations can actually transform your existence before the reset button gets hit. Yeah? I think that's what we're doing here, and I'm inviting you to do that. And that takes guts to be gender neutral.
Ovaries.
Well, that takes ovaries. No, we've gone beyond feminism. Now we're
gender fluid.
Gender fluid. Here we go. Before we study these things, the tradition is you make an offering of a mandala, a perfect universe. What I like about this is that it forces you to imagine perfection before you enter the mechanics of making that happen. So I really encourage you to imagine that thing that we're all seeking, some kind of peace, some kind of enlightenment, some kind of perfection, whatever. Imagine what it would be like if you didn't have to seek it anymore, if it was here. So if it was here. So for a millisecond in this mandala offering, as we say these words, imagine in your mind a universe where there's no suffering at all, where people are blissfully, beings, not just people, every being is blissfully happy. Because that's what's driving us. And what if you could imagine it for a millisecond, and that imagination could cause it, over time. So that's what this one's. Here we go. Nice timing. Who wants to go? Would you?
Sashin.
Hoki Jushi Metop Tram Mira Inchi Ninde Yampadi Sange Shindu Mite Waji Rokun Nanda Shinla Chupasho.
Imagine perfect.
Idam Guru Ratnamandalakam Niryatayami
Sange.
Chudam Zogi Choknam La Janju Bardu Dakni Dapsushi Dagi Jinyan Gibet Sonam Ki Drola Vanjir Sange Druparsho
Sange.
Chudam Zogi Choknam La Janju Bardu Dakni Dapsuchi Dagi Jinyan Gibet Sonam Ki Drola Vanjir Sange Druparsho
Sange.
Chudam Zogi Choknam La Janju Bardu Dakni Japsuchi Dagi Jinyan Gibe Sonam Ki Drola Benjir Sange Druparsho.
So let's just do a quick meditation to get our minds in the right space. Comfortable seated position. The key is your spine is straight, and you can park your body. Begin to focus your mind through the sensations of the body to the tip of your nose as you inhale and exhale through the nostril. Just try and focus your mind there. See if you can press your mind a little tighter on the sensation of the breath, maybe focusing tighter on the temperature or a single point where there's movement, the difference in temperature coming in and out, or even the sense of the entire flow. Without controlling it, just observing it as if it's a fresh new thing that you're noticing. if your mind wanders, it's a really good opportunity to develop the habit of joy to bring your mind back to the object of meditation. So whenever you notice that your mind was wandering, see if you can develop a beautiful sense of, I just realized, and this is great because I'm developing that muscle of returning my mind to the object I choose, which at the moment is your breath. Then quite naturally with your breathing, imagine that the air you exhale transforms the place you're seated in and places you in an environment of your choice. It could be the most perfect place for meditation for you. It could be on top of a mountain in a rainforest in a field. It could be underwater in space, you decide. Just recreate the space around you to the most perfected, beautiful, conducive for meditation environment. And place yourself there seated as you are. Feel as if you're in the space. If you have a nice feeling for that, see if you can add detail and brightness. And in front of you, place a beautiful shining lotus with a cushion of the sun and moon in front of you, and slowly imagine a teacher appearing just perfect for you, facing you. It's just you and them in this place. Really enjoy generating that image in your mind. This image in your mind is now your object of meditation. Make them as perfect as you can. They can either be a real person you know or an imaginary person, or a being you may not get to see but you believe exists. And besides their physical form, see if you can begin to conceive of their mental form, how they view the world, how they feel love, how they experience wisdom. Imagine they are at peace. Just you and them. Think of their most extraordinary quality. It could be their mind, it could be the way they appear, the thing you revere most about them. And genuinely feel this connection with them through that recognition. Imagine from your heart creating some kind of offering, some beautiful object of their senses that they could enjoy, that you create, you manifest for them. Whatever it may be, you just brings them complete bliss. It could be as simple as a flower. It could be as magnificent as the entire universe, blossoming and sparkling. And then with a really open heart, with a wish to achieve liberation, see if you can connect to an aspect of yourself that blocks you from happiness. A habit that you have or a deed that you've done that has caused some other people pain. This is not to feel bad, but this is to recognize obstacles to overcome. So with a beautiful scientific mind, a genuine wish to purify, see if you can conjure that up and show it to them, asking them for help to transcend that, to overcome. Find some hope that by working with that you can overcome that obstacle with them. Imagine it reducing in your life until it disappears. And then conjure up the opposite, the most magnificent beauty you possess right now, whether it's your intelligence or your kindness. See if you can find a specific moment where you did a really beautiful thing for another person or yourself. Some kindness. And without pride, see that thing turning into goodness, causing goodness in your life and the life of others. Imagine the ripples of that action in the universe you live in. Imagine it expanding and causing more and more good. Feel that joy for doing good in your heart and show it to them. Imagine developing more qualities like that. And imagine recognizing qualities like that in others more and more because of this concentration on it. And then return your focus to them and ask them to please always teach you the right things to give up and the right things to take up on your path. See if you can get a glimpse of their eyes glistening as they look at you with complete joy. Ask them to always stay close and teach. And as you imagine that, ask them that, imagine they are rising and turning to face the same direction you're facing, getting smaller and brighter until they rest at the crown of your head. Like millimeters away from touching you. You can feel their presence up there, complete with all their wisdom and love available to you. And just see what it feels like to have access to them all the time. Just poised at the crown of your head. And when you're ready, you can come back to the room. And so. Any questions about the steps in that meditation? Does anybody know what it's called?
Preliminaries.
It's preliminaries, a 7-limb practice. And that's a condensation of an entire part of the practice, right? So we did this, I'm just having to redo this so we can get to the right place. It's ACI 1, we're doing a summary of the 6 Asian Classics Institute courses. Today we're going to do the 3 principal parts. We'll pick up from the middle where we left off last week. Do a quick review. We'll do Buddhist Refuge. For those of you who have studied these in depth and have part of your homeworks and quizzes done, this week, next week, and for the next few weeks between now and April 1st, I encourage you to please do them. Yeah? For those of you who are halfway through that or nearly done, like really, you're not going to pick up another 5 years of your life to study this stuff. You may as well go the extra mile and do it. Yeah? For those of you who are courageous and want to try and start on that, the people that have studied this can help you get caught up on these. What you're going to get out of this class is at least being able to answer the final exam questions that are at the end of each course. So that's all I'm covering in detail. In detail. And then for those of you who are committed to a long-term practice here with this Geshe degree summary, I've highlighted in yellow slides the Maroc exam. Do you know what that is? The Maroc exam?
Isn't that the final exam for
It's
the
a
Geshe?
final exam. If you've done the entire 5-year course, the 18 courses, of Asian Classics Institute, the whole 5+ year program, there's a secret series of 100 questions that might or might not be highlighted in yellow. That are the ones that are the absolute essence of the essence of the essence that you should try and internalize. Because it's these 100 questions, any one of which you will be asked to either debate or to answer in front of when we do the ceremony at the end of the 18 courses. Yeah? When we did this in the 90s, does anybody know Fran Diane? The little old lady who's like 700. So you're not, she always watches this, you're not that old. 65.
She can't see your face, it's too dark in here.
Oh, good.
She's still mad at you.
I'm smiling. She did this. She stood up at the Quaker House in front of like 250 people and just boom, boom. She was one of the first people to answer all these questions in no problem, in a 2.5 hour grueling. They laugh at you and they pretend to throw you off guard, and they're mocking the debate rounds in Tibetan, which takes several weeks to answer these questions. So for those of you interested, take special note or make a list of the yellow questions, and you might be able to rehearse the Maroc. Yeah. So we talked about this last week. Are there any questions from last week? I know we interrupted the class in the middle and they had an awesome party, which actually was a really beautiful thing to do. To highlight what a lovely group of people we have here. Yeah, and that's as much this practice as it is studying the technical things. Yeah. So we talked about why study this, and it was because people really seek happiness in all these nominal things, like love affairs and ayahuasca ceremonies and DJing and going traveling and earning a career and earning cash. And the funny thing is that these things, the funny thing is not that funny actually, the interesting thing is we do seek some kind of permanent from these things. We really do. And when you look at it really objectively, like if you're an alien popping in here and watching us crazy people do these things, it's obvious to the most basic thinking creature that all these things are transient. They're like transient things. They come and go. The cars change. Girlfriends, boyfriends change. The money changes value, your career, your intent, all these things. We look for that ultimate state of, now I've found it. They don't stay. And you don't stay. It's a crazy upside down way of engaging existence. Yeah? So it's the first delusion. Like it's the most bizarre thing, and we do this. We are born that way in this planet. Yeah, in this cycle called samsara. Right? Now it's not to make you feel terrible, it's to get real about it. It's an incredible craziness that we seek some kind of state of freedom or perfection, whatever it is. We're seeking it all the time. That's the only reason we're moving, yeah, to get that something or get away from what's not going to deliver me to that. And we are seeking it in stuff that disappears. So that hints at one of the foundational states of mind that we need for this whole endeavor called practice something. Yeah, I'll get to it. Does that make sense? Tell me if I'm lying to you. Like, really, this is the check. Tell me if I'm saying something not true. I gave you the background that this came from India, went through Tibet, then got exited out of Tibet, and His Holiness came out with these teachings and all the Tibetans. We landed in New Jersey with Ken Rinpoche meeting the first Western Geshe, American Geshe, Geshe Michael Roach, who did this in Tibetan. And then the specific lineage that you're getting this content from and the book from comes from the Buddha right through to Jetsong Kapa. He wrote this text on 14 verses called the Lamson Namson, and it's the content that we're studying tonight, or first half of tonight. It's 14 verses I'd like to read. One of the people that taught this in the early 20s, mid-20s, 1920s was Pa Bongka Rinpoche. He wrote a commentary on it, describing in detail what this thing called the Lamrim is, Lamson Namson. And then his student was the tutor of the current Dalai Lama, Trijang Rinpoche, and he wrote the commentary down, and it's we're using that text. And then Ken Rinpoche, who's the monk that taught Geshe Michael, who was here in the United States, wrote this small book that's out there describing in English the content of the book we're covering. And then Geshe Michael Roach, the first US Geshe, is the one that did this translation, right? So just so you know, you are tapping into memorizing and experiencing, like you're tapping into teachings that were spoken by the Buddha and got interpreted in situations like this for 2,600 years. And it's beautifully preserved. And for some reason, you're here. It's a magnificent lineage. And for some reason, you're here. Yeah? A Lamrim teaching, that one that collects all these teachings of the Buddha into the steps to enlightenment, it's called Lamrim, comes in 3 flavors. They call it the lesser scope. So the motivation for people studying these things are, I don't want to have a worse life than the one I'm having. Yeah, I don't want to hell for the samsaric wheel of life students, those of you who either think that's a metaphor or think that's a real thing. It just means after this life, it doesn't stop. Consciousness continues. Existence continues. And it will either be better or worse or the same. So the lowest motivation for a Buddhist studying these things is, I don't want my next iteration to be worse, to be a hell experience or a ghost experience or an animal experience. Then you have those of a medium scope who study this to say, I want to be like a superhero. I want to transcend being human. And I want to learn these things so I am in a state of nirvana. I want to reach nirvana. I want to study these things so I am in nirvana. We're going to study what nirvana means. And then there is a third scope. It's the same as that middle scope, saying, I want to figure out how to stop suffering. I want to reach nirvana. But I want to do it not just for my own sake, but for the sake of all these other moving, living creatures who are desperately seeking. Susan. Yeah. Seeing if you're paying attention. Yeah. Cool. Oh, yellow card. Okay. So, the three principal parts is the text that Jetson Kappa wrote describing the steps to enlightenment, right? In a really short form. Are we all cool with that? The Tibetans called Lamsong Namsum. The English called three principal parts. I think I might read it. I wasn't planning on it. Is that okay? I'm going to read you 14 verses so you know what the hell we're talking about from the original thing. And it's in really tiny print, and I wasn't prepared, so here we go. As far as I'm able to explain the essence of all high teachings of the victors, there are code words all over this, by the way, and we'll undo the code word in the rest of the course. The path that all the holy sons commend, the entry point for the fortunate seeking freedom. Listen with a pure mind, fortunate ones who have no craving for the pleasures of life and who make leisure and fortune meaningful. They strive to turn their minds to the path which pleases the victors. There is no way to end without pure renunciation, the striving for pleasant results in the ocean of life. It's because of their hankering life as well as that beings are fettered. So seek renunciation first. Leisure and fortune are hard to find. Life is not long. Think it constantly. Stop desire for this life. Think over and over how deeds and their fruits never fail, and the cycle's suffering. Stop desire for the future. When you've meditated thus and feel not even a moment's wish for the good things of cyclic life, and when you begin to think both night and day of striving for freedom, you've found renunciation. Now, renunciation, though, can never bring the total bliss of matchless Buddhahood, unless it's bound by the purest wish, and so the wise seek the high wish for enlightenment. They're swept away on 4 fierce river currents, chained up tight in past deeds, hard to undo, stuffed in the steel cages of grasping self, smothered in pitch-black ignorance. In limitless rounds they're born, and in their births are tortured by 3 sufferings without a break. Think how your mothers feel. Think of what's happening to them. Try to develop the highest wish. You may master renunciation and the wish, but unless you have wisdom, perceiving reality, you cannot cut the root of cyclic existence. Make efforts in ways then to perceive interdependence. A person's entered the path that pleases the Buddhas when for all objects in the cycle and beyond, he sees that cause and effect can never fail, and when for him they lose all solid appearance. You have yet to realize the thought of the able as long as 2 ideas seem to you disparate: the appearance of things, infallible interdependence, and emptiness, beyond taking any position. At some point, they no longer alternate, come together. Just seeing that interdependence never fails brings realizations that destroys how you hold to objects, and then your analysis with the view is complete. In addition, the appearance prevents the existence of extremes, emptiness that of non-existence, and if you see how emptiness shows in cause and effect, you will never be stolen off your supreme view. When you grasp all these as the essential points of each of the three principal paths explained, then go into isolation, my son. Make mighty efforts and quickly win your ultimate. Win your ultimate wish. Sorry, I was a little blind. Did you all, for those of you who have studied, did you catch some awesome things in there? Let's talk about them. The three principal paths that he presents there is renunciation, number one. We talked about that last week. That's a quick summary is when you're fed up of being fed up. You're fed up of trying to get that hit, that happiness, that things to work in the way you've always gone about them. At some point you go, it's not working that way. It's not working that way. There must be another way. And not, I'll get another girlfriend because that last one, it was her fault. It's not, I get another way as in I'll try and change the next one. It's an upside down way. It's not out there. You're the common denominator for all these things falling. Coming and going, coming and going. There's something to do with you. Yeah? So at some point, you get that kind of renunciation. At some point, you say, everything I've tried to do is get happy with these external things, shifting the chairs, trying to hold on to objects so they don't leave me, trying to push away objects that I don't like so I'm at peace. And in that struggle, you are unhappy. At some point, you realize that it's not in those things or not in the way you were doing that. And if you're fortunate, if you're lucky, you'll come into contact with some way of thinking or internalizing or some energy to propel you forward in your search that will have results. If you're not, you'll revert to type. We all do. We revert to type. We revert to habit. This is a heads up for practitioners. Yeah. So that's why he says, you've got to get renunciation first. You've got to get, because that becomes a fuel. And it's not an excuse to feel depressed, and it's not, because it's not. Renunciation gives you the possibility, when you mix it with the other three paths, give you the other two paths, give you the possibility of complete and utter transformation. The good news is that it's up to you. The bad news is that it's up to you. But you've got to get that fuel first. Yeah? When I get older, I'm going to make videos about you young people partying too hard. Going, you youngins. Yeah. So then he has this quote in there about, did you hear that? I'm going to read it again because for me it's the most impactful part of this thing, bodhicitta. Once you have renunciation, you turn that fuel and focus it on others must be in a similar boat. If I figure this out, if I win the lottery, I'm going to help a bunch of people. Yeah. Who bought a ticket for the Powerball? Yeah, do it. I did. Yeah. She's taking notes on it.
Did they find the winner already?
Yeah, 3 winners.
Oh.
California,
Tennessee.
where?
Tennessee.
Tennessee, and there was something else.
Oh, that's
Nowhere
right.
Beach, Florida.
Yeah, well, that's right, Florida.
You went to Florida to get the ticket?
I went to Florida to get a ticket.
I know.
But it was a really interesting, I've never bought these tickets. I bought one yesterday. I took money out of Stephen's drawer because he was away. And I thought if he won, I'd give him the winnings.
Only one.
And if he lost, I'd pay back the money. You know, so I figured that would be a nice thing. So now I have to pay back the money. But it was interesting to watch my mind thinking, if I had that, I'm going to do all these things with it. And I didn't know how selfish my mind was. Seriously. because initially it was a really nice impulse. It's like, I want to help all these people. I'm buying a building for the 3 jewels, and then we don't have to worry about rent. We can give these for free, and we don't have to hassle you at the door. Please give us a donation. You know, like really fund it, nice. You know, and then give it to other people. Like, that was my first impulse. Yeah, and then I'm like, oh, I can't forget my mom. Oh, I can't forget my sister. Then I'm like, oh, I really want to live in. And then we started going this way. I mean, if you'd asked me 10 years ago, it was always going out there, you know? It was really nice to see that my initial thing was genuinely, not contrivedly, which the learning process about this path is that you fake it, yeah, and then it comes naturally, yeah. So I had maybe 3 minutes of 3 minutes of
Is that why we
altruism.
didn't win? Because we planted seeds of selfishness?
I don't know, you know that. We'll talk about karma before we close today, and that's why we didn't win. But the first thing is you get renunciation, right? You're like, there's got to be a way. I mean, the universe is produced, our existence is produced by something. Some causality is producing it. We just don't know what it is. We think it's getting the girlfriend, getting a better job, you know, telling lies so nobody catches me. We think it's those things. It's not. What we haven't figured out is what it is. But there is a way. Who believes that there are people that are really, really clever on the planet, like really stable, clever people? Like just normal, yeah. Who think that's just luck? That came from something, you know? So who thinks that if you can develop the human mind from not knowing much to knowing a little bit, who believes that's possible? Not knowing much to knowing a little bit. You can actually make it happen, right? It's possible. What about knowing something to knowing a lot? Who believes that's possible? So the human mind is changeable and moldable, right? Who believes that it could evolve beyond that to, like really think about it. Is it logical to think that it can extend a little bit more than what your limit is?
Yeah.
You know? So logically you could think, my mind, not brain, my mind, the way I conceive of things, the way I experience things, can actually be more positive than negative. Yeah? Who was angrier before than now?
Before what?
Before
Well.
now. I mean, I can make you angry if you have to try, you know? But right now, I think we're cool. You know, like at some point over the last week, who felt anger? Yeah, okay. And now you're not. Now, one of the cruxes is you either believe those things are caused, or they're random, or someone else is driving. That's really one of the foundational questions you have to ask yourself. This path says, the Buddha said, you're driving. But you have a delayed effect. The turn you're doing now appears sometime later. So you're doing this, and you're having a result right now from something before, and we're confused. Yeah? But there is cause and effect. And we'll talk about it when we talk about karma. If that's true, so let's assume for a second there is cause and effect. And your consciousness, your mind, the state of being you are, is also cause. It's an effect of some cause. If you find the right causes, you can produce the perfect result. Not just clever, but wise. Not just wise, but with capacity. Yeah? To understand that in this system, you have to understand karma, you need to understand emptiness, the two big drivers of Buddhist thought. The rest are either realizations that get you there, or techniques to have those realizations. Okay? And we're going to study all those. So the three principal paths that he reads, remember I got distracted again, is you get renunciation, right? Do you understand some level of renunciation. Bodhicitta has a definition which we'll cover, but in essence it means you want to wake up and you want others to wake up, right? And he talks here about once you get renunciation, to think about all other living beings, and that's the horrible part, that says when he's thinking about all the other beings in the universe, he calls them your mothers. But he says they're swept up on 4 fierce river currents: born, aging, sickness, and death. The 4 fierce river currents, chained up in past deeds, hard to undo. If you have the causes of suffering in you, if you've planted those currents, hard to remove a plant that's already grown, hard to stop concrete from setting after you've mixed it and poured it, hard to undo. If you've got the seeds of something, they're coming, the results are coming. So he says, think about them. These beings that are just dragged along existence across those 4 fierce river currents, being born every minute of the day, every millisecond there's a being born, and they age and they get sick and broken, and then they stop. The thing that's doing that is this deeds that they have, hard to undo, chained up in deeds, hard to undo, stuffed in a steel cage of grasping self, smothered in pitch black ignorance. So here he's talking about this idea. The big thing about Buddhism that I got early on is like no self. Who heard that? No self. You've got to be selfless, right? I've got it so wrong, and I think we because of the language we get it so wrong. It doesn't mean you don't exist. It doesn't mean you don't have an identity. It doesn't mean you disappear. It's a very specific meaning. No self. It means no self nature. It means nothing has a self-nature. We'll talk about it towards the end today. But beings don't have that as a natural thing. We think everything's about me. If I want a girlfriend, I'm going to grab her. I'm going to do all these really weird things, like put on the perfume or whatever boys do to get girlfriends. I'm gay, so I've got no idea. What do guys do to get girlfriends?
Spend money.
Spend money, that's great, right? So I'm going to make it rain to get a girlfriend, or whatever we do.
Follow your passion.
What is it?
Follow your passion.
Oh, you follow your passion, or we
But
think.
that's a smart thing.
No, but that's also a strategy. And this says that doesn't work by itself. Whatever it is, making money, spending money, putting perfume, following your passion, doesn't work by itself. That self nature doesn't exist in producing girlfriend. That's what that's saying. So it's not that you don't exist, okay? I want to make sure you have that. One of the core teachings here on emptiness is that things don't have that kind of nature to produce that thing. There is something else at work. That might be one of the nominal things. So the seed that produces a tree is not the only thing that produces a tree, but the seed is the principal cause. With water, with sunshine, with warmth, you will get a thing, faster or slower, right? This teaching is saying that the perfume or the following your passion or making it rain are the factors that will help the seed produce girlfriend. But if girlfriend to you means connection, only connection produces connection. If having a girlfriend means having a companion, then you being a companion to others is the only thing that produces companion in a girlfriend. If it's great sex, then giving somebody an experience of great sex is what produces great sex for you, blissful pleasures. Similar sense pleasures. Bananas make bananas. Apples make apples. That's what it's saying. Whew. Okay, got this. We're going. So he's talking about, think about them. He goes, in limitless rounds they're born. But without end, these beings come into being. And in their births, are tortured by 3 sufferings without a break. Think how your mothers feel. Your mothers being everyone. Think how people feel. Think of what's happening to them. Try to develop this wish. Try to say, if I'm going to become something over the next few years by practicing these ideas, if I'm serious about my meditation, my yoga, my study, my way of perceiving and interacting with the world, if I'm serious, don't just do it for you. Don't win that lottery ticket for you and buy yourself a house. As you're learning it, think of them. Have a motivation of others. This begins the seed for bodhicitta. Yeah? This teaching is saying these 3 principal paths are what get you to enlightenment. The first one is renunciation. The second one is bodhicitta. The third one is correct view, which is called wisdom, which is an understanding of emptiness, that thing I just described. Yeah? So you might, if you understand that these 3 things, they're called method and wisdom, you'll see the 2 wings. You hear these 2 described in so many ways. They are the thing that produces your experience of yourself as an enlightened being, as a Buddha being. So understanding what practices can help you develop renunciation, very important. Because you will have a taste of renunciation, but do you know what makes you get renunciation? You will get a taste of bodhicitta, maybe. But do you know what practices can get you there? And you can learn about wisdom, but do you know what practices get you there? Right? So these are key. We're not touching the practices. And then meditation is a tool for developing these. Do you see that? Yeah.
Is the 3rd path, when it says wisdom, does that mean you already, like, you're on that path when you've seen emptiness, then you're on the path? Or is it just the practice of that? I don't quite understand.
These are 3 states of mind that you develop over time. Okay?
So you're on all 3 paths at once? I thought you were on the...
You're on 3 paths at once.
Oh, okay. I must
And you're developing these states of mind, and they support and encourage the others. A deeper understanding of wisdom, understanding this idea of emptiness, will let you understand renunciation deeper. Will let you see the purpose or the meaning of bodhicitta deeper. But at the beginning, you don't have that reference point.
Sure.
So you're developing them in tandem. Does that make sense?
Okay, I guess I'm confusing it with some other stages of 6 stages.
You're confusing it with the 5 paths, I think.
Yeah, that one. Okay.
That's okay.
It's safe to say you can't have one without the other.
It's like
With these 3.
Yeah, I understand.
with
No,
these
you
3,
can.
yeah. He's saying renunciation is not enough to get you to enlightenment. You've got to get that energy then focused on everyone else. And those 2 are not enough to really wake your mind up to that of a Buddha. For that, you need insight. Yeah, and the insight he's talking about is karma and emptiness, cause and effect, dependent origination and emptiness. Yeah, so he's saying you need to develop these 3. When the view of emptiness, at the end he talks about when the view of emptiness doesn't alternate for you, like if you have this, then this doesn't exist, or if you have this doesn't exist. When they begin to coexist, and you see them as the opposite side of the same coin, the same thing, but different view, then he says, go really deep into meditation, go into isolation, go do a 3-year retreat, and get that wish to come, get an insight. Yeah.
Is renunciation just, I know it gets deeper, like you're saying, all the paths inform each other.
Mhm.
Is renunciation just, I give up, I'm going to try Buddhism, or I give up, I'm going to stop trying to be happy? Because I really, what's the thought? What?
We'll get to it.
Okay.
I have a yellow slide for you.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
So I'm not too clear on the terminology, to be honest, but
Yeah.
so there's a renunciation of the self almost, right? The things that tie you to this realm and keep you in this place of what we could call unhappiness, right? How do you tell somebody who has experienced something that they actually that's experienced some sort of like, if somebody imposed themselves on somebody else, how do you tell the person who has been imposed upon or on, that in a sense they attracted that situation to themselves?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Yeah, when we talk about karma, we can talk about it, right? Because we're talking about really, that's one of the things that Westerners are really unhappy about. When you start talking about karma from the Buddhist point of view, we really like people to be victims. We want people to say, I was a victim of something that I had nothing to do with. Yeah? And it appears that way, and it really does. But then with this investigation, you realize that there is a connection between all the parties in that experience. Yeah? And so it's a really hard conversation.
Yeah.
It's a really difficult conversation from a Western context, because we want people to have nothing to do with the result of their lives. Yeah? And if you accept the concept that we are deeply connected to everything that happens to us, then we have some part to play in that, as untasteful as it tastes, as it looks, right? But what it does, it's like, if you've got an addiction, I'm not saying that's, if I have an addiction, which I have, yeah, some, it's really difficult to come to terms with facing that reality for myself, that I have some involvement in that thing that seems to be controlling me. Yeah?
Or what about in the sense of, like, let's say a child who's been raped? How
Yeah.
do you tell this adult
Yeah.
that at a certain age in which, their development is not,
Yeah.
at all there, that they played a part in that kind of action?
Yeah, it's not in a Western way. We tend to think of that part they played as something they should feel guilty about, or that they're terrible for, or something like that. It's not that kind of thinking. It's a recognition that I must have been, I must be partly responsible for that experience. And if nothing else, as an adult, for my connection to the memories of that experience and how I internalize and synthesize them. I'll give you an example. Who was in Treblinka who wrote the book? What was his name? Viktor Frankl, right? Concentration camp survivor. Horrific circumstances. Yeah, but his experience of that, his mind engaging with that horrific circumstance, turned that experience into something positive for many other beings and his own life. Same horrific circumstances that drove other people to die of despair and hopelessness. So at the bare minimum, you ask me, how do I engage an adult that might have had an experience like that early on? At the bare minimum, they have control, they have freedom over the way they engage with that memory. Yeah? You have responsibility to engage with that. Now, you need tools and support and all these other things. So in that respect, you can be freed from the grips. Whereas if you're the victim and it happened to you and you had nothing to do with it, you're screwed. Because then you're the victim of that thing. You see, you can't change it. It's just that way. And this is the big flip between understanding how to enact this philosophy in a real meaningful way, because it actually has the tools to free. Now, that might be hard to face for many people, especially in horrific circumstances like that. It might be a very difficult come to Jesus moment, or whatever that people have those realizations where you actually take a good hard look at the way you think of yourself in relation to life, and you need to let go of some things. Forgive, the main person we forgive is you. Forget the other person. They must have the consequences for that action that appear in their lives. We'll talk about it when we talk about karma. Yeah, but it's actually could be a freeing experience over time. It gives you the driving wheel. So these are the three principal paths. thinking. Mahamudra, for those of you who means the Great Seal, and it's talking about where these three principal paths will lead you. They will lead you, if you practice them, or the practices that lead you to them, to a visceral, ultimate understanding of the nature of existence. And on the way there, these are the 5 paths, okay? On the way there, you will have an experience, a direct perception. Imagine having a complete download and realization of cause and effect. Imagine what it would be like if all of a sudden you're looking at this world and the veil got taken up and you saw actually what caused the girlfriend. It wasn't just being, what was it? Being cool. Following your passion, or making it rain, or putting on perfume. Yeah? You saw that they were contributing factors to something else, and you saw the cause. Imagine being able to actually know it without a bit of doubt, complete 100% certainty, and then because of that being led to experience what supports that fabric of existence. These parts can lead to that, yeah?
So anything that's in yellow is this special.
Yeah, it's the Marok. So the Mahamudra question will be there, and what are the 3 principal paths will be in there? For those of you who want to cheat, obviously.
Is Maha, do you, so,
Maha is great.
no, I know that, but, I guess the question I'm asking is, you know, when you talk about like complete understanding and seeing all the cause and effect and understanding it and how it works, is that the same as direct perception of emptiness, or is that part of Maha?
Well, I was talking about 2 things there. I said, imagine that you could get the download, you lifted the veil, and the way things appear, right? This is called the direct perception of dependent origination.
Oh, direct perception.
Perception of dependent origination, which according to the books and the teachers, comes before you have a direct experience of emptiness.
Okay.
Yeah?
So the direct perception of dependent origination is before direct perception of emptiness, and that's part of the 5.
It's in there. It's the peak of the 3rd, and then the 3rd.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll get to it. All you have to know, if you want to remember some ideas, is the 3 principal paths are these 3 things that I need to develop in me. Don't get mixed up that you're learning terminology. The terminology is a map to a reality, okay? Don't do the, I'm learning something thing. Seriously. Yeah, I know it's hard, okay? Don't do it. Internalize it.
Where does Mahamudra fit in?
Mahamudra is seeing emptiness directly, right? It's a direct realization of wisdom.
Oh, so you're saying at some point
you'll
you get this.
Yeah, you'll get this. Got it? Cool. Understand? If you don't nod, and we'll be happy. Okay. One of the other things. So.
And that was a water bottle.
Hmm?
And that other was holding a water bottle.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, for Westerners, this is hard, okay? Because we are so special and we're so great.
Thank you.
We're so perfectly individual.
I know.
And we're so grand.
We're all special.
We're magnificent.
Snowflakes. We're special snowflakes.
Especially
Even Western dogs.
We're like so all that. Number 1. My dad used to go, hello everybody, I'm Vince number 1. His name wasn't even Vince. He really liked Western culture when we moved from Argentina to Australia. He's like, I love this, everybody like me. Because I'm special. Who's learned a musical instrument here? Okay. Who still plays a musical instrument? Watch the hands drop. Who's good at it? Who's really good at it? Who performs on a regular basis? I think you guys are. Who performs on a regular basis, right? Okay, what do you play, Ron? Guitar? Okay, cool. Who picked up that instrument the first time after hearing that musical instruments are playable and could play it exactly like you thought you wanted to. Of course I was like, this is about a teacher. This is about you need a teacher for things. But it's difficult for us in the West because it's weird. We have really weird Eastern-Western relationships since the late 1800s, early 1900s with the whole
Colonization. Yeah.
Well, when we brought the Asian philosophy into the West, we made it into weird things. We had spirituality. No, what was it? The ladies with the balls.
Gypsy.
Not ladies with the balls.
Fortune tellers.
Fortune tellers. That's not what I meant. Not the ladies.
They're like magnets and you.
No, what are they called?
Crystal ball.
Madame Blavatsky.
Yeah,
that whole spiritualist, the mediums.
The mediums,
Yeah.
right? That you'd have a seance and you bring
the whole
yeah.
thing, yeah.
And we
Are you
said,
speaking about Western culture before or after?
no, I'm talking about Western
colonization?
culture touching Eastern philosophy and making it Western. Yeah.
Well, see, I don't know about that
Theosophy.
because like there are groups of people that were practicing very similar practices
Beautiful.
long before those two very different worlds met, and it's been like proven also. So that's why I'm asking: are you speaking about the Western
I'm
world
talking
before
about
or
when-
after colonization?
When we encountered Eastern philosophy in the West, we shopped it. We made it into something to shop for. Okay? We dressed it up. That's what I'm talking about. There is wisdom in the East. We have wisdom in the West too. Okay? But we're studying the Eastern wisdom. So I'm saying when we as a Western culture touched it, I'm not saying everybody, but I'm saying in the popular culture of the 1800s, early 1900s, we made it into a thing like, ooh, yeah? And
So
we
after
did,
colonization.
Like you're talking about spiritual mysticism right
thank
now.
you, yeah. And
Yeah.
then we did it again in the 60s, yeah? We had that whole new psychedelic era where we're like, oh man, I'm piecing out with baby Buddha, yeah, and gurus and the rest, right? And then we're doing it again. We did it in the 90s again, and we're doing it again, right? Because it's cool. We make things into acquirable objects in the West. We purchase things. Okay, we shop. And when we get tired of the coat, we drop it. We don't really have long-term practices.
Consumer.
Yeah, we consume. We were nicely trained to consume, and this is just another means of consumption for most of us. Yeah, we're doing it to yoga. To the deep, beautiful practice of yoga.
Next is meditation.
Next is meditation. We're doing it to that too. I'm saying be aware of that impulse. You can. A thing that comes with these teachings is a teacher. You can't learn that instrument on your own. Okay? Or you can, it might take you a long time. Eventually someone's teaching you. Yeah? And then that's hard for us. We're not very humble. Okay? Engaging with a teacher that breaks your self-grasping is difficult. It's a powerful experience to meet something, doesn't have to be someone, something or someone that really challenges who you think you are. Because when you start, at the beginning it's nice honeymoon, and then when you start actually digging, it hurts. And if you stay the course, if you connect with a teacher, that's not because it's another acquisition. That's why I said that. Okay, not because you got yourself a teacher. Who's got a guru? I've got a guru. I forgot my mantra. Can you help me? Connecting with a teacher is a special thing, especially when you understand intellectually how things come about, karma and emptiness. That a teacher for you can only ever be something produced by you. We'll get to it when we talk about karma and emptiness. That, like the negative example you used about how you talk about a being that's been abused as a child who didn't have anything to do with the abuser, apparently, right? How can you connect those two? How do you explain it to them? Well, it's the same when you encounter a magnificent opportunity to free yourself from suffering. When you encounter a strong being in your life that wakes you up, even if it's for a millisecond, and they don't have to be dressed in guru clothing, okay? You have beings in your life who wake you up little bits. According to this philosophy, you're the producer of that. You had caused it. It's a delayed reaction from something you did before. You can keep causing it if you engage with it correctly. And then the more you're with that teacher, you evolve and you evolve, and your playing becomes second nature. So here are the 10 qualities. This is the top 10. No, qualities of checking out a teacher. There's stories about people checking out their teachers for 12 years before they commit to them. And so this is both a guide from these practices to say, don't go jumping in, getting yourself a guru, because you could get burnt. Yeah?
What's the T1, T2
Good question. Any answers?
text?
No. This is the extraordinary training of morality, the extraordinary training of concentration, the extraordinary training of wisdom. Huh?
No.
Not quite. Good though. The 3 baskets, the Tripitaka are the Naya Sutra, and so it's different. Yeah. There's lots of lists.
And what's it
I've also made the list of lists.
What's
okay?
the third one after sutra? Is it
No, not
Oh,
for the 3
trainings.
baskets.
The
No.
3 trainings? Is that what
The
you said?
3 trainings.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Okay?
Is the third one, is that the one?
Wisdom.
But that doesn't mean that they
It's
have...
Prajna Paramita, the study on the perfection of wisdom. Yeah. So here's what it means when you're looking at it for a teacher. Forget the T for a second. Okay?
Sorry.
It's okay.
Sorry.
When you're engaging with someone to teach and internalize a path, this is hard to explain. It's hard to explain because there are many things that give you a buzz of wisdom or knowledge. Yeah, there's 1,000 people in your life who, if you spend time with, they'll produce some. Your engagement with them, your connection with it works. But do they have a complete path that leads you to enlightenment? Is the big question. There are many really good paths on the planet, and I think some are broken. I've tried a few. Yeah. They'll give you a really good insight into renunciation, or they'll give you a really good insight into taking care of others, or they'll give you a really good insight of the nature of existence. But the paths need to produce a result that deliver you out of suffering. And that's a test of a path. Beings that have access to that path could be a teacher. So to check out your teacher, you should make sure these 10 qualities appear in them. It should be your checking. Yeah? They say they should be tamed, at peace, and has high peace, which means, tame means they have internalized a sense of morality, which in this case means taking care of others. Yeah? But really, it's not just being kind and nice even to bad people. It doesn't mean that. At the bare minimum, it means that the 10 virtues are not doing the 10 non-virtues, yeah, which are, don't kill things that are moving and living. Don't bust them. Protect things that are alive. Take care of living things. That's one. Then is, don't take other people's stuff that doesn't belong to you, like just because you want it. Doesn't matter how small. Stop that. Yeah. Don't take other people's partners. If they're happy, or if they are connected with someone, they have expectations, don't go out and take it. So these are the things. Now, the link between morality and these trainings we'll get to before the end of class today. But the teacher should be living a life that is inspiringly beautiful, kind to others. Yeah, they should be living a kind of moral code. Because if they are, then they understand the nature of existence. What you put out comes back. If you understand that, karma, what you do is what you experience later. Then morality makes sense. Not because someone said so, but because if the nature of causality, of cause and effect, is what goes out must come back, then if you put out some kindness, some positivity, some morality, that's what your world is experienced as. Beauty and niceness and goodness. Does that make sense? So a teacher must have that. That they say, check out that they're doing it that way. Because if they are, then they're probably going to be a good teacher on a path that delivers you somewhere. So they have to have a good insight into the training of morality. And being at peace means that they have the capacity for concentration, that they are practicing, that they control their mind and their mind doesn't control them. To whatever degree you need to learn. Yeah? High peace means they have some insight of this idea called emptiness, the lack of inherent existence in things, the code to unveiling the universe. Then a couple of other things. They should be rich in spiritual knowledge, which means they understand all the different components that make up a spiritual life. They should be able to teach you Dharma, and Dharma in the Sanskrit sense, which is the highest object there could be, which is the thing that frees you from suffering. So they must either have that as an experience or in the textual form, memorize and understand books that have these codes. And then a deep realization of wisdom, which is slightly different to having high peace, is where you know that they've got some insight, some visceral experience of that. If you can't find somebody that has had the direct perception of emptiness, to use a term, then someone that understands it in a really deep way.
Hector, what do you mean by two dharmas in the parentheses?
The-
Did you say that already?
Yeah,
Sorry.
the books and the experience.
Oh.
So there are many sutras, there are many commentaries in the Buddhist path. Someone can learn them all, someone can have photographic memory. But to know what they mean and how they are experienced by a person is probably the key dharma. Yeah? So they say, the Buddha spoke in the Dhammapada Sutra, he said that in the last 500, so at the end of this time that he mentioned, the Dharma will disappear from the world because it's also a produced thing, so everything that starts must end. Right? So, and he meant that they'll disappear in two phases. First is the realizations that people have, the dharmas that they internalize. When I say renunciation to you, it's one thing to think, oh, I know what that is like, because he said renunciation and I've had a similar feeling. But to actually be in a state of renunciation, different. That's an internal, right? The other's like, I learned the word renunciation. Renunciation is an important part to the path, right? But to actually have it, that's the dharma. These ones go away first. The planet, the Buddha said in the Dhammapada Sutra that in this planet, the realizations will disappear and then people will just have these books in the library and go, oh, there's all these words in there of renunciation, but people won't know really what that experience is like. Yeah? So that's what the two dharmas are. And has spiritual qualities that exceed the student. That's pretty obvious. Yeah. And then the last four is a master of instruction. They can tell really good jokes to wake you up and give you coffee breaks. That was a joke. See, that was a master instruction. Anyway, and teaches because of love and compassion, not to get students, but genuinely because people want to get something, and that's what motivates them. Are rooted in joy. They're happy about doing this, and they don't mind saying the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over again, because it's needed. Yeah. So these are the 10 qualities of a teacher. Test if you're getting a teaching from somebody If you're engaging a long-term relationship between teacher and student, you're locked psychically for a very long time beyond this life. You want to check these things out really well. And only then, once you commit really well. Because then the relationship will take you places. Yeah, but don't go being a speed guru dater.
So a couple questions.
Yes.
Is it true, like, once you take a teacher, you can't, like, undo it, right? Like, that's it until you get a direct perception of emptiness or something like that? However many lifetimes down the road, like, how does that work?
Every action has a reaction. Okay? So people engage with teachers and people disengage with teachers. Some people have expectations on teachers, and some people practice with a teacher, understanding where the teacher comes from. Okay? There's no rule that says if you do this, this will happen absolutely. The deeper your understanding of karma and emptiness is, the bigger your teacher pool becomes.
Pool or pull?
Swimming pool. Pool, your group of teachers.
Oh, okay.
The deeper your understanding of emptiness is, where you realize that things don't have a nature on their own, that there ain't no teacher out there that could ever have come from anything other than me planting seeds to help others learn. Me planting seeds to help others learn is the only reason over here I'm experiencing a teacher. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Cause and effect, karma. When you realize that can only work because things don't have a nature. If he had a nature of being a teacher, he must be exactly the same teacher to everybody that saw him. And I know for my teacher, that's not the case. I know that for everyone's teacher. The way I experience my teacher is completely and utterly dependent. It originates dependent on the seeds I have in me based on what I've done to my world in relation to teaching, giving meaning and purpose to others, selflessly. Yeah? So when you understand that, you realize why that person appeared in your world in the first place. And then you want to keep that electricity running, that vital connection, by quickly helping other people internalize understandings, teachings, wisdoms, whatever the qualities of the teacher you're experiencing that are serving you, you want to seed your world with that. And then another level of teacher will appear, either in that person or in another person.
I see.
But it's coming from you. You understand?
Yeah, it's just because I've heard you or someone say that before about being careful about who you're choosing or you become.
You have to be really careful. Once you actually take a teacher seriously, that connection becomes your life force.
Yeah, but also it's like you're connected in the next life and the next life and so on and so forth.
All lives.
We're all connected.
Well, yeah, but we're not all seeing each other all the time. I can see the people in this room. I'm having a perception forced upon me of, separateness and whatever.
But the connection is empty, and the two beings that are being connected are empty.
Yeah, that's what I meant by your pool of teachers grows. Eventually, you see that same quality appearing over there, and then over there, and then in a question over there, and until everyone is your teacher. Everyone is a being just like your teacher. Everyone, when you get to the higher teachings,
Yeah.
you realize that every being you've ever engaged with is your teacher.
So in essence, like a mirror.
We are just mirrors. Yeah, if you look at Indra's net, the story of Indra's net, it's like diamonds reflecting diamonds infinitely. There's nothing else but your reflection of you in everything. And it functions.
But it's kind of like choose the purest facet of your mind to connect with in that deep way, maybe? Like
I get what you're asking. Yeah, because then we're serving, it's a real, also this karmic relationship, that we're serving somebody that's appearing as one person, or a heart teacher.
Yeah.
A heart teacher.
Once you get a heart teacher, then you're committed. Yeah, that's what you're asking. But you've got to realize, I'm not saying there's heart teachers out there separate from
No.
your creation
Oh,
of them.
I get that. I'm just, about that part. Like, well, maybe it's a longer it might be a longer question.
It might be. I'm not giving you a break. I'm going 13 minutes more. Is that okay?
That's later.
Great. I'm quickly going to go. If a teacher requires qualification, really quickly, a student will require qualification. Yeah? And for you to check yourself when you come to a teaching, when you go to your teacher, when you go to someone that you're learning for a path out of samsara, out of your own states of unhappiness, yeah? Are you in a place where you're free of preconceptions? Are you open to learn, really? Or are you coming with expectations because you're going to get hurt? Are you coming in with a spiritual intelligence that is more encompassing than a quick fix to get quickly happy for something? And do you have high spiritual aspirations, meaning, are you really coming to your teacher to understand the nature of existence or the nature of having a nice year in life? Yeah? Samsara, which is that painting over there, refers to the condition of having to take on over and over what they say, these 5 heaps, these impure heaps. In essence, it means experiencing a life that must break down over and over and over. If you understand the nature of existence, karma and emptiness, that things have the potential to be absolutely anything, then a 500-year-long lifespan or a 1,000-year-long lifespan or a different incarnation is also a possibility without sounding too mystic. Samsara is a being that perceives itself in a state where even the greatest things disappear. In Buddhism, a suffering is a happiness that is necessarily followed by a suffering. It's a suffering, it's not a happiness. Even if you had 500 years of happiness. If it must end with an unhappiness, it had the seed of unhappiness in it. There was something broken about it. Yeah? And the teachings teach a method to not have to have that experience of that existence. Does that help? Yeah, come on. We won't go to the 8 worldly dharmas, but that might be in there. It won't be in there, in the thing. But there is this preoccupation that we have, and as long as you have them, you know you're still in samsara. The 4 fierce river current I just explained to you before, which was birth, sickness, aging, and bye-bye.
That's a nice depiction.
Birth, sickness, aging, death.
Yeah. Aging and death.
In that order.
Yeah.
Those are all real
Those are all
Legos?
natural.
They were all real Legos. I just went
Well,
to the
like, if you
interlink
think
and
about it.
borrowed them momentarily. So renunciation, you might have a few ways of developing it, right? So you might, renunciation, which is the first of the 3 parts, you might develop it by having a really horrible experience and you go wake up. Or you might do a death meditation. Or you might look at reality for a while, yeah, and wake up. There's methods to engender renunciation in you. You might remind yourself that things break down. Yeah. Bodhicitta also has a way of being produced, and there's 2 methods. One is Tonglen, which is the meditation on giving and taking, which I won't cover. And then there's the 7-part cause and effect. You can learn all these here, by the way, in more depth, but I'm giving you just a taste. And the 7-part cause and effect is 0. You begin with equanimity, and I want to clarify equanimity because it's also a misconception, I think it's common in the West, where you think nothing matters, right? That's not equanimity. That's, I gave up. Okay, this path is not that. It's not, I give up. Okay? It's the opposite of that. It's like, I see a glimmer of hope that's actually real, rather than a glimmer of hope like all the other things that I got disappointed at. That make sense? So to develop bodhicitta, which is that wish, bodhi is enlightenment, yeah, or Buddha, bodhi, wota, citta is mind, bodhi mind. Sometimes translated as mind of a Buddha, but it doesn't mean the mind of a Buddha. Bodhicitta means it's the thoughts of a Buddha, if you will. It means the wish to wake up, the drive to enlightenment for the sake of everyone else, as well as you. So that's bodhicitta. And the two methods to get there is tonglen, or equanimity first, meaning you remove your sense of attachment and aversion to beings and everything around you. Momentarily, can you remove your impulse to like that one and not like that one? As I was thinking about this coming over here, I'm on the train and there's this lady and she's got her feet on the subway thing, and I had an aversion to her for absolutely, in a way that was unnecessary, right? And I had her on my peripheral and I'm trying to smile and I'm like, stupid bitch. Yeah, not consciously, right? Like my mind just went, right? She was paying no attention to me at all. She was living her life. She was filing her nails. It was disgusting for me. Not for her. She was having a great time. No one else on the train cared. Seriously. I'm like, ugh. Equanimity is suspending that. Recognizing that we're on ship Earth or ship samsara together, and that all those things come and go, but at the core, we're the same. Yeah? She wants happiness as much as I want happiness. She's got different strategies than me. Yeah? Which I didn't know. Equanimity is bringing your mind back to neutral around beings that you have a favor for or an aversion to. Come to a point where you recognize every creature on this planet crawling that has an impulse to life wants what you want. They want to be happy. They don't want to suffer. They don't want to hurt. We're the same. We're really the same. You get that first. That's the foundation. And then you think about what he said in the Namsanamsum. You have to do course 4 for this, which we'll get to. But if you think that, if you accept that mind's consciousness is infinite, yeah, that there is no, that your mind has been here without beginning, that you as a person right now is just a eruption of that, circumstance of that. But before this life there was another one, and before that there was another one. It didn't look like that. But the impulses that you came here with came from something else. And those came from something else. And time without beginning, we've been cycling these lives. If you get that, and that you've been doing it, and you've been doing it, and I've been doing it, then you give infinite probability that we've all been each other's mothers. So then you try and conjure up the understanding that if time had no beginning, and things, and remember, I think I said it last class, if you rolled 12, if you could roll your dice infinitely, how many times would you roll 12? Right? Infinitely. What are the chances, right? If we had a connection, right? If we have a connection right now, what caused that? What? If you have infinite possibilities of causation, then we would have had any kind of relationship. I've killed you 1,000 times. I've loved you 1,000 times. And more. So you think about that for every silly person on the subway doing their thing. And you think, at the core, we're the same. We're driven by the same in this appearance of ours called I'm a human on the subway. The probabilities are I've hurt her and I've loved her infinite times. She birthed me 1,000,000 times. That lady. The mind in that lady. And if you get that as a trigger, you then remember the kindness of that being who's got a mum. Yeah. Even if you like her or don't like her, which is another beautiful Western thing. You know? Did she or did she not feed you, hold you in her physical body for 9 months with back pains and vomiting or whatever you do? Pushed you through her body. Yeah. Then she either left you on the footstep, breathing, but if she didn't, she must have picked you up. And her impulse would have been to feed you from her body. Even if she was a complete bitch, your whole first 10 years, she housed you, she fed you, she clothed you. Your body existed. So you think about that, and then you think about that to that lady. Remember the kindness. And then you have an urge, a wish to want to repay it. Yeah, you go through these processes, and then you have this kind of love for them, like a child would, that develops greater and greater the more you habituate to it into a deep compassion. And then you say, I want to take personal responsibility for her happiness. I would like right now to do something for her happiness, even if it's in your mind, even if it's the way. So in my situation with the person I had aversion to for 5 subway stops, yeah, at the last subway stop we got off together, and I'm remembering I'm going to teach this, so I urged to practice, not because I liked her, but because I was forced to. That was a joke. She gets up at the same time I do, and I feel the aversion in me, which is unnecessary if I'm practicing this. Yeah? But it came up, I acknowledge it, I'm not pretending I didn't have it. So I'm now working with my mind to do this, to develop bodhicitta towards her. So I move away and give her the right of way to let her have access to the door. That's the best I could conjure up to counteract the stupid bitch in my head. Yeah? But that's a little positive move rather than a negative move. Yeah? But all the while, after she's walking ahead of me, going up the same stairwell, I'm thinking, we've been each other's everything. And here I am now, planting mental courses to dislike you, which must only come back to my experience of meeting somebody as I'm living my own life on a train or moving something, and somebody going, or worse. Yeah. Karma, which we're not going to get to. Okay. Oh, we are. Okay. If you take away anything from tonight, which I might not go through the second class, I'm a little bit sorry I'm not going as fast as I'd like, but I want to cover it. Yeah. You should take this. It's one of the mechanisms that makes you in control of your existence. The teaching on karma is deep and wide, and it will save you if you study it and practice, play with it, try to break it, try to live by it, understand it intellectually, and then do some experiments. Yeah? But the laws of karma, the way things truly function, yeah, the thing that's driving everything, is that things are definite. Meaning, if you put a banana seed, you get a banana tree. If you plant an apple tree, you will get apples. If I think evil thoughts about lady enjoying herself on the subway, I must experience that in my mind. Like produces like. It's a definite connection. Yeah? I can't get happiness from putting out unhappiness. I can't make profit by cheating. Yeah? I can't find truth with lying. If you live by that for long enough, you'll see the results of that. Like produces like. Rule number 1. It's definite. Rule number 2. Result bigger than cause. Is that right? It increases. Little watermelon seed, big watermelon plant. Same seed, big plant. Little cause, big result. Yeah? Little tree seed, big tree. Little bit of hate, huge disgust. Yeah? These two are beautiful and shocking. No cause, no result. Sounds obvious, right? If there's a result, there was a cause. How was it? Same as the result. Right? But smaller. Make sense? Now the implication of the last two are key to your question. If I'm sitting on a subway one day and some lady looks at me and I feel a burning sensation inside going, stupid bitch, she hates me. Right? Did that come from her eyes? Did it come from the way she looked at me?
It was the way you interpreted her love.
Right. Did I choose that interpretation at that time? At that very time, did I decide out of the infinite things I could think, did I think, I'm going to think she thinks I'm a stupid bitch?
You had that memory of what you felt today.
Well, it wouldn't have been a memory, right? Because for me, it was just an experience.
You're perceiving it that way.
I am perceiving it that way. Is my perception my reality at that time?
Yeah.
Is there heat in my body?
Yes.
Are there thoughts moving?
Yes.
Am I in control? Did I choose them to come up?
No.
Yes.
Who said yes?
I said yes.
I don't think I did.
So where did they come from?
But we
Where did they come from?
Your
From
past
our past
deeds.
life.
Hmm?
previous either.
I have the potential for that available to me.
You're
Right?
purifying.
I'm having the experience. There's a result. Yeah? Out of all the things I could choose to do right there, right at that moment, sitting on the train, I am not choosing you think I'm a stupid bitch. Sorry, that's not what I choose. We don't wake up in the morning thinking, today I'm going to be really angry. We don't wake up in the morning saying, today I'm going to suffer loss. We experience life. We're like catching up to it. Maybe the second millisecond, I had a choice about diving into that experience or not. But when the impulse arose, did I choose that at that time?
I guess not now.
That's the seed coming to fruition.
It's really important to conceive of this, right?
Yeah, I want to understand because I feel like I often misinterpret things and looks at negative, have negative interpretations of a look or something.
Yeah. Let's go the opposite for a second. I was on a train a long time ago, and there was a person over there, and they're giving me eyes. Those eyes, not these eyes.
The good eyes.
And the burning sensation occurred. But it wasn't, they think I'm a stupid flower. It was this, oh my goodness, everyone else in the train disappeared and all my mind was focused on them. And my heart grew wider and wider and wider. And all I could do the whole train ride was be with them. It was the most beautiful connection. It was stunning. Did I choose that when it first popped into me?
No.
I couldn't.
It's conditioning.
Yeah, it's conditioning. I like that word, conditioning. Yeah? Here are some random things, all mixed up together, people sitting in trains with atoms or however you want to think of it, moving object. And my mind, my consciousness, in a fraction of a millisecond, too fast for me to see, grabs all those conditions and synthesizes them into that beautiful experience. Consciousness is aware of it a millisecond later, and I dive into it. He's going to be my lover forever. We're going to be happy ever after. And then all these other conditionings follow that are attached to that story. And we live in that story and we revel in it. And sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. It's exactly the same story as the lady with the thing. It's exactly the same. Up came the condition, and I mistake that coming up for out there she's causing it. Out there he's causing it. Now that's the experience, right? So the two last parts of karma, the beautiful thing about karma is I did have a real beautiful connection on that train. It lasted 3 years of beauty. It was like a seed ripening, super fast, super strong, stunning. Never had that before that meeting. It wasn't David, by the way. Yeah, it was. Hold on, and it expired. Like everything that starts in samsara expires. Every tree will fall down. Every one of your bodies will rot. It must. To think that my salvation, my happiness, my goodness is not in here, but out there, and therefore I grab and manipulate that and work with that, and oh my God, it disappeared. And I put all my hopes and all my winning tickets on that. Crazy. All my anger on that. Crazy. It's not there. Now, they are real things. This is the hard thing about these things. Meeting these people are real people. They're not imaginary, but the conditioning synthesizes that experience into something that is uniquely yours or mine. So, the last two are stunning. If you have something like that appearing in your life, it's coming from you. Literally. You're projecting this reality. It means you did something similar to someone else, towards others of a similar nature. You loved other people as much as you're feeling that love right now. You gave yourself endlessly to other people the way you're feeling that right now. It's a mirror, which is what you said, beautiful mirror of the beauty in me. Now, if you treat it that way, you might perpetuate it. Yeah? It's a terrible mirror of what was in me. If I'm experiencing it, I've caused it. So, you want to know what kind of seeds you have for your world? All you have to do is take the subway. Close your eyes. You're going to feel, and this is one of the beautiful things about meditation retreat. You go into meditation retreat where you lock yourself up for 10 days, a month, a year, 3 years. You shut down all the people, so all the annoying trained people and all the loving people disappear from your life. You take away all the distractions, no phones, everything gone. You just have your four walls and you. In a very short time, you appears again and again. You're feeling that and you're feeling that, and there's nobody to project it onto. It can drive you crazy if you don't have good training. But you realize your world is you. Yeah? So the last two means if you caused it, you must meet it. That's why we say there's no victims in Buddhism. If it's an experience, it's in you. Everybody else on the train wasn't thinking that. Maybe, maybe not. I was hoping they would, so I could feel validated. But most people were lost in their own life. We do this. Who had a terrible boss in their life? Okay, so if you had a bad relationship with a boss or a partner, how long did it take you to start asking your other colleagues whether or not they were terrible? How many colleagues were you seeking for proof? Yeah? Isn't she a bitch? Yeah, she's a bitch. She agrees with me. I must be
You
right.
have to ask the customer.
Yeah? We know that our world comes from us, and so we go and group people that are like us so we can prove that we are right. That's called war. Okay? We do it on the train. Two truths, relative and ultimate. Dependent origination is another word, big word for karma. One more thing and then
Wait, what?
I know, don't worry about it.
First truth, not true.
The two truths. Long story, okay?
Oh,
There-
short.
That was short.
Please.
That was it.
Relative and
No,
ultimate.
that was like not didn't happen.
Go back to slide.
Here,
That's really
is back the slide, okay? No, it was back, yeah. Fake truth and ultimate truth, okay? There is reality and then there's reality.
okay.
You got it?
I remember now.
You do?
Yeah.
For those of you that don't, one fake reality is in relation to the example I just used on the subway, is that I think my anger came from her. She doing these things causes my anger. Relative truth.
So like self.
Self-existence. Yeah?
The appearance.
There's something in that that made me this. Yeah? It's easy to test whether that's true truth, real truth. If that always produces this, it's true. If everybody else wasn't feeling this, it didn't come from that. As soon as one person out of the entire existence of beings doesn't feel what I feel, including her as a person, then my truth is not the real truth. It's just my relative truth. It appears as truth. That's why it's fake truth. It appears as that's my reality. She did that to me. He did that to me. It appears as if that's where my feeling came from. My feeling and my story. And it's not true. It's a fake truth. Now, I did experience that. So it was like that for me. If I say for me, it's okay. It's my truth. As soon as I call it the truth, not true. Ultimate truth must always be true. Ultimately.
Right.
And there's only one thing that is like that. And that is that things don't have a nature of their own. The ultimate truth, the ultimate reality is that there is no thing out there that produces, that contains even a single sliver of existing in that way from its own side. There will never be a being doing that that must always produce anger in people. Not a possible thing. That's called a gotcha, which is the next slide. Okay? The impossible thing, the thing we deny, which I'm calling the purple elephant, is the thing that we think is out there but was never there in the first place. I know I'm using weird words, okay? And the first time I heard this, I thought they were cuckoo. But these words can have most profound meaning ever. The thing you think is out there, the lady that could do whatever actions on the subway that must cause unhappiness, was never there in the first place. It never existed that way. That's a pink elephant. In Buddhism, that's called a gotcha, the impossible thing. Yeah, the thing we deny. We deny of being the thing existing in that way. Yeah? So ultimate understanding, this is wisdom. This is the wisdom side. Yeah? Ultimate truth is saying the thing about no self. That things like that lady or that guy did not have that nature in them. Not everybody that rode the train with him fell in love with him. Not everybody that rode the train with her disliked her, including herself. Maybe, I don't know. They are blank of having that reality that I imposed on them. Yeah? That reality came from me. I didn't choose it in the moment. According to karma, I planted the causes for it. Maybe unaware, but I planted the causes for it. As soon as I know that exists in my life, I know that I must have done something similar. To use these in a practical way is, if I want more of that in my life, do more of the same to others. If I want less of that in my life, stop doing that to others. Where am I not being considerate of other people in their private spaces, public spaces? So it should, instead of conjuring up, I dislike you, the disliking feeling, we're turning onto the self and saying, where do you do that to others that you are unaware? Farting in public might be one of those for me. I know that because today that happened to me at the line of the Chinese embassy getting my visa. I must have been inconsiderate in relation to smells to others in the past. It was shocking. It was definitely bigger than what I'd done before. It was definitely greater than the cause.
Karmic increase.
Huh?
Karmic increase.
Yeah, karmic increase occurred very exponentially inside the Chinese embassy.
Not Chinese though. Just welcome.
No, the guy was Western. He had beans or something. Yeah. It was disgusting. But what I'm saying is, you begin to build a habit of how to use these 4 laws of karma and your understanding of emptiness, that things are not the way they appear, that there's an ultimate thing and that you're in relation to it. You're related to that cause, that result, through something in you. The way to practically use this information is to say, whatever you don't like, instead of punching everybody out there and forcing them to do things, check where you're doing something similar. Maybe smaller, but similar in your world. And then for a short period of time, stop. Try and do the opposite. And then see if your world changes, if those kind of annoying people disappear from your life. And then if there's stuff that you really like, including a teacher with those 10 qualities that you have in your life, see if you can, whatever qualities that serve you, that work for you, that wake you up, see if you can do more of those to other people in your life, even if a small way, because they'll appear to you in your life in a bigger way. That's the practical application of karma and emptiness. Because things don't have a nature, they are available to be anything you impute on them. But you don't do it by choice. You do it through a delayed echo reaction. Whatever you do now must come to you. You don't know when. There's techniques to making it happen fast. That's the teaching on Tantra. Yeah? And there's also other nominal things to make it go fast. We'll teach it next week. I apologize that it's 9:45. I think we're done. In practice, blah, blah, I said it. They were. Yeah, nice, I did that. Yeah, you graduated. I'm available to talk further if you want to. I know these classes are fast and furious. They should ignite some wish in you to do something with the information. I wish we had more time to go into depth again, but we've already covered all these things. I'm just trying to get concepts in your mind. So when we start the really deep course 13, which is amazing, we can do it about these topics, yeah, in depth. And you've got these down. Okay, so make an offering and then dedicate any goodness that came to you today. Like, oh, maybe I can fix my life. Oh my God, I can use that for that. Oh, there's hope. I don't have to be a second human that just dies. Yeah? Whatever you got today, spark of meaning, give it away to everybody that needs it. Like, you don't need it. You've got it now. Just give it away. That will produce the course to get more of it. So, who's doing it? You can do it.
Bogir Jushin Metotram Viral Vinchin Indevim Hadi Sande Shindu Intevargi Terobin Namdar Shimla Chirpasho Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kam Niryatayami
Gewadi Gewoku Sunam Yeshe Tsotsok Shin Sunam Yeshe Lejun Wei Dampa Guni Topar Sho. And if you've maintained that teacher at the crown of your head, see if you can invite them to shrink and get brighter. Enter the crown of your head and just in front of your spine, move all the way down to the level of your heart and make them a home there. Perfect bubble, always available to you with all the beauty you created in them. I thank you for spending your Thursday evenings doing something that I think is the only thing to do in life, which is learn how to get free from suffering. So thank you, and I hope you find that lady and see if you can like her in the subway. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next Thursday we'll do refuge, which is an incredible topic. It's actually what technically makes you a Buddhist. And there are Buddhist monks and nuns walking around there without refuge, and there are non-Buddhist monks and nuns walking out there with refuge, according to the Buddha. So people that look Buddhist might not be Buddhist, and people that don't look Buddhist might be Buddhist, according to the Buddha. Who's the Buddhist?
And some of them do their nails.
And some of them do their nails. Thank you. How do you know I like this? Thank you.